Welcome to Rise and Shine Daily Business Tech Boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and break them down into bite-sized tips you can use right away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Shine, it's your daily dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Today, in continuation of my cybersecurity series, I am going to be talking about how to secure your business's customer data. It is really important that we look after our customer data, not only because it's the right thing to do, and letting our customer data get stolen or leaked out into the general public is a pretty silly thing to do. There are some pretty stringent legal requirements around making sure we look after it, not that we let it leak, that we look after it. So it's really important that we understand what it is we have to protect, and it's really important that we actually protect it. The first thing you need to do when you're looking at this particular issue is identifying what customer data is sensitive and what you do need to protect. And not just because it needs protecting, but what parts of the laws say you have to protect this. So go through all of the information that you gather. Go through the account credentials, payment details, personal information, and create an inventory of all the customer data that your business collects and stores. Once you have that, have a look at where it's being stored, and then have a look at how it's being protected. In previous podcasts in this series, I've spoken about using storage systems, cloud storage or even local storage, that allows you to encrypt the data. So data that is in motion needs to be encrypted, and data that is at rest being stored somewhere needs to be encrypted. What that means is that if someone gets access to a hard drive, or someone gets access to the physical cloud storage devices, even if they've got that physical access, getting access to the data is even more difficult because that data is encrypted on the hard drive. So make sure you're using reputable providers. Make sure you know whether it's encrypted in transit. Make sure you know that it's encrypted when it's at rest. And that includes not just data, like the files that you have. Databases need to have security on them. Your email systems need to have security on them. And if you're using DMs and such back and forwards, if you're using messaging systems back and forwards, that data should be encrypted while it's in motion and at rest as well. I notice that Facebook now says that the chats are encrypted. I notice Signal says it, Telegram probably says it, Discord says it. So your chats are actually encrypted. So if people get access to the system again, or the database again, they can't just get into the chat data and go, oh, it's all there in plain text. It's still encrypted. They've still got to break that encryption. It's not going to stop someone who really wants to get access to it, by the way, but what it's going to do is make it that much harder. It's going to slow them down, and hopefully they get found before they get through and get kicked out, get booted out before they get access to that data. So make sure you have systems in place that are protecting the personal and the sensitive information that you're collecting from your customer. The last thing you need to do, and this is all sounding all very familiar, because honestly, once you've got a base set of principles, they just apply across the board. The next thing you need to do is make sure you know who is accessing that data. Once it's protected from anyone else getting in to access it, who within your organization, which team member, which subcontractor, which staff member is allowed to actually access and see that data. So use role-based access controls so that people can either see it, they can view it, they can edit it, or they can't see it at all. And if they don't need to see it, don't give them access. It's just going to limit the liability that you hold. Sorry, I had to think on that. Was Yeah, it was liability. Limit the liability that you hold for having that data accessible by someone who shouldn't have had access to it, and it might have leaked out through their login or whatever happens there. And then finally, once you've got all this in place, audit it regularly. Make sure you go through and look at your data, what data you're collecting, where it's being stored, are all the boxes being ticked here, and who has access to it. You also should include training for your employees and your team members and your subcontractors to say, with this data, this is what you're allowed to do with it. This is where it's stored. This is how we store it. This is how you transmit it. You don't just copy it off or print it out and hand it over to someone. Make sure we've got proper processes in place and that your team members are regularly updated on what those processes and procedures are. Okay, so that is how you look after your customers' data for your business. What do you guys think? Have you done this? Do you do this? Is it kind of like, well, we're just going to see what happens in the long run? Have you not thought about any of this stuff and this is all new to you? I would love to know. Leave comments wherever you are watching or listening to this video. You can join me in my locals community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com. You can also send me a DM on any of our social media channels, and I will get back to that eventually. I'm a little slower on social media than I am on other channels. If you haven't, or no, not if you haven't, if you could, please like this video. It does help the content go further and people to see it. And if you haven't already, like the channel and ring the notification bell, subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you find out when I drop more content. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. We're going to be talking about just general cybersecurity awareness tomorrow and why it's important for your business. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.